Hello, this is Andy Shed Live, Series 11, Episode 14 for Sunday the 18th of December 2022. Hello there everyone and welcome to the show, the last Sunday before Christmas, the last normal Andy Shed Live before Christmas, or at least fairly normal. A few things that are a bit different today, but fairly normal. But it's not the last live show before Christmas, because we will be back on Christmas Eve, which is next Saturday. Christmas Eve we will be back. Think it's going to be in the daytime, probably early to mid-afternoon, but we will be back live on Christmas Eve with a very, very special show you will not want to miss. If you've been following what's going on with building the radio station and stuff, and if you're interested in the pneumatic video machines and things, do not miss that one on Christmas Eve, and it is going to be live. So that is going to be an interesting one for you there over Christmas. Hello to everybody who is in the chat. There's no Christopher 2000 today. He's out and about somewhere. He's off gallivanting, as they say in these parts. But Wesley is with us. Penfold is with us. Dominic is with us as well. Wesley says he's looking forward to the Christmas Eve show. Yeah, it's always a good one. Well, it wasn't a very good one last year. Do you remember last year? It was foggy. Do you remember we did the Escape the Shed? The live Escape the Shed, and it was foggy, and it was playing havoc with the with getting the signal back, and eventually it cut out completely. We've never had much luck with these live ones at Christmas. They've always gone a bit wrong, but hopefully the technology has got a little bit better, so hopefully we'll be able to do it this Christmas Eve. So yeah, so watch out for that this Christmas Eve, which is next Saturday, isn't it? Sometime in the afternoon, I think, but I don't know exactly when as yet. Biet's here with us as well. Just reading everything. Everybody's just basically saying hello at the moment. So yeah, so it's Christmas is nearly upon us. I'm not ready for it at all. I'm really not prepared in the slightest for it this year. Yeah, I never am. I'm a bit of a Grinch when it comes to Christmas. It's not my favourite time of year at all. I'm glad when it gets to about January 2nd or January 3rd and it's all over and we can start looking forward to the summer and that. Yeah, not a big fan of Christmas at all. Right, what have we got on the show today? We might be going a bit Big Clive today on here. Well, that's another story. I've had the 3D printer running this week. I've got loads of stuff on the desk. Do you want to see the cluttered desk? It's absolutely mad, the desk at the minute. So cluttered. You notice there's a red telephone on there as well. More on that in a minute. But yeah, I've had the 3D printer going. I've been making end caps for a plastic pipe. A friend of mine's got one of these old-fashioned clothes dryer airer things in his utility room. You know, these things that used to haul up into the ceiling to dry your clothes off, and it's got round, well, it's now got round plastic tubes on it. They put your clothes over rather than the original wooden rods, but the plastic tubes haven't got ends in them, so I've had the 3D printer going, making some stop ends for his pipes. So that's my prototype one. I've got to take that to him later this week, along with his Christmas card and stuff, and see if that fits. So yeah, the 3D printer has been whirring away today. Also, where have I put it? Last week, I don't know if you remember or not, but I got this lithium battery. This comes out one of these disposable vapes that you see chucked around everywhere these days. and they actually have a rechargeable battery in them. If you watch Big Clive on YouTube, you'll know he's done 1 or 2 videos about getting the batteries out of these disposable rapes. Well, here's a battery out of one, and here are the little circuit boards to charge it safely, so it doesn't get over voltage or anything like that. I think it cost me about a £5 for 5 of these. You buy them in a strip like that, and then you basically break them off into individual ones like that. So that's my little project for over Christmas. As you will see, we've got another telephone as well. We're doing quite well for red telephones at the minute. This one has arrived. A genuine all-up red 706. If you want to have a look when it was made and things, you can stick it under this camera for you. If I move some of the stuff out of the way, under that camera there, and it's 706. What does it actually say on it? Something SC 66, and I think it's /1. So it's from 1966, this one, so it's probably not Diacon from 1966. It's also got the later feet with the recess in the middle, plastic base on it, and when I got it, it hadn't got the dial bezel on it either. The dial bezel was missing when I got it, so that's an original dial bezel that I happen to have in stock, but it has got the dial centre missing. Have I got any dial centres cut for these anywhere? No, I haven't. But yeah, the dial centre is missing, so I'll have to do something about that. But apart from that, it looks pretty much okay. 1001. Dial's a tad slow, tiny bit slow, but it's not too bad. So that is the latest 706. It's because this one, of course, arrived. This one, here, arrived a few weeks ago, and this was what was this? Was this a 66? This is a 64. This one, and we couldn't decide about returning this back to having the alphanumerics on the outside of it. Well, I'm glad now that I didn't, because this came complete as is at the minute without the alphanumeric bezel on, and I'd only got one alphanumeric bezel or any good in stock, and I've had to use it on this other one because this one didn't have one at all when it arrived. So we've used it on there. How is it they always seem to be missing these button blanks? These always seem to go astray, and I've got no idea why, but they do. They always go missing those. So that's another rather nice red 706 that's arrived. Wesley says he's been on eBay when he's had the opportunity, but no sign of any 746Ts. Yes, I don't know. It was funny, the thing with the 746T, because I got the base first. I don't know what I've done with the base just off the top of my head at the minute. But I got the base first, won the base of one, just the base of one, and then I typed 746T into the internet to find out some information about them, see if there was any information out there on the web about the 746T, and one of the search results that came up near the top was a link to another eBay listing that was for a complete phone, i.e. this one. but I've not seen any more. But they'd be very difficult to spot unless somebody has actually listed it as a 746T. They'd be very difficult to spot. The only way to spot them from the outside, really, is the fact that that screw in the back of there is lower than it normally is. See how it's low between the two rubber grommets for the handset cord and the line cord. Normally they're higher up than that. That one is low, but that's basically the only way to spot them from the outside. So unless you've got a good picture of the back of one like that, it will be very, very difficult to spot. Dominic says he's back after sorting out a pizza for tonight. This Sunday night pizza thing is catching, isn't it, Dominic? He says he went to an antique store earlier today and saw a 706 clone with a plain dark grey bezel and also a Bakelite field telephone. Yeah, it'll be a late model 706 clone probably. Did it have like a 746 style finger plate in it with the numbers sort of in the finger plate? Because that's how they tend to be. It'll probably been a telephone rentals one, something like that. Yes, Penfold Dominic is copying my diet plan. It's not actually today because I've not had a pizza for my tea today, and won't be having one because the next door neighbour left me a meat pie on the wall earlier. So I've eaten a meat pie that came courtesy of the next door neighbour today. Yeah. Where was this field telephone then, Dominic? Field telephone and a 706 clone. Were they stupid money? They sometimes are in antique centres, they're sometimes not. You can sometimes get a bargain out of an antique centre. It all depends if it's something that the dealer has bought as part of a job lot because he wanted something else out of the job lot and he's ended up with a telephone, knows nothing about them, so he's just put it on his stand for a tenner. That does sometimes happen, and in which case go and buy them. But when they put them on for 30, 40, 50 quid, then that's a little excessive. Penfold says the Scottish pizzas are deep fried at the local chippers. Deep fried pizza? A pizza's cooked anyway though, isn't it? So do you cook it and then fry it again? Not sure I fancy that. I do like deep fried Mars bars though. Yeah, I do like battered Mars bars, deep fried. They are rather nice, battered Mars bars. I'm going to leave that phone on there a minute, so I might do something with it. Yeah. So yeah. Dominic's on the ham and pineapple pizza. Ham and pineapple. Not sure about having pineapples on pizzas. I'm not really sure about that. Fruit on a pizza. It just never sounds right to me. No. And a pineapple is a fruit, not a vegetable, I think. Right, somebody will argue with me, I'm sure. But anyway, right. So anyway, moving swiftly on, we've got this 706. Shall we have a look inside it? Also, it's got a rather nice GPO junction box on it. Although it's missing the screw and it had been glued together, and I've had to sort of prise it apart and unglue it because somebody had glued it together with that 1970s really rubbery sort of glowy glue stuff that you used to use at school. It was horrible. Right, I'm going to put a few things away. I'm going to put Big Clive's circuit boards away for a minute, out of the way so they don't get damaged. Where can I put those? look for a drawer that's not completely full. That one will do. Right, so we'll have a look inside here, shall we? See what we've got. Might move that camera up a bit so we can. Have a little look. So, it's not a 746T, so I'll be fighting to get the case off. It has come off. And there we go. And it looks quite original inside there. Right, so if I'm going to turn that around so you can see what's going on in there. I think it might be time to do a bit of a conversion here to get it ready for the modern system. So this is unconverted. You see 4, 5, 6 and 7 are strapped together, then 8 and 9 are strapped together, and then 16 and 17 are strapped together, and then 18 and 19 are strapped together, but not 17 and 18. So we've got to take some of these straps out and put some new straps in, and we'll see where we go from there. So basically we take out this one, and I'm doing this upside down so you can see it. They're all sat in there nicely. I'm not going to disturb them if I can help it. So that one has to come out. There. And then where are we going? We've got, seem to have got blue wires. Up to the dial, it's there. So up to the bells rather, not the dial. So 4 to 5. Now that strap needs to come out. And of course that's the one that we want to replace with a 3.3k resistor. 3.3 kilo ohms. So we do that, we do that, and we do that, and we do hang on, we do that, and then that should, in theory, tuck in under there. But will it? Yes, I think it will. It's not easy because I'm doing it upside down. I now know how all those Blue Peter presenters felt, but I've not got one I prepared earlier. So that's that, there. That's on there. Then we need to look where the cords go out of me. Line cord. Now it looks like it's only a 3-core line cord, this one. So instead of the blue we'll have to use the green. Make use of the green, so we'll take the green off there, and actually the red and the white of the line cord seem to be the opposite way around to what they would normally be, because white is normally down here on 16, 17, 18 and 19, which will be strapped together, and red is normally up here. So they're the opposite way round to what they normally are. Now it doesn't really matter as far as I'm aware, because it's just they are the two wires for the line. The green, what is normally blue, but I'm going to use the green one, is the bell wire. But I don't think it matters which way round the line things are. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong, and if those red and white ones do matter which way round they are. I don't think they do matter, but if I'm wrong, somebody shout out and let us know. So I've now got to add one of those things I took out, one of those straps in here. I think I'm going to swap these around because, you know, I just don't like them that way around. It's alien to me for them to be that way around. As I say, if I'm doing wrong here, let me know. I'll put a link in there. Then we will put the white back in there. I'll put it on that one because it's a bit short, this cable. So they're done up again. So now I will stick my red on there. So that is basically now sorted for the modern plug and socket system at that end. So I think we've done inside the phone. I can attempt to put the case back on. So here we go. Get the two little lugs under the front of the case there, and also make sure that little cutout in the dial bezel is where the finger stop is, and that's gone on relatively easily at the front but not at the back, because at the back you've got to get it down and get these through, which is difficult, and that's why these are modified on that 746T, so that the bit that comes through the case is actually attached to the case, not the chassis. So there we go. So I've now modded that for the modern plug and socket system. Right, what's everybody said in the chat about that? Wesley says tomato is a fruit, isn't it? So they say, Wesley. So they say. I think it is, actually. I think it is. Miguel says it's a fruit species of bromeliad. You learn something new every day. Penfold says, I hope that meat pie you had good quality meat that left you with a shiny coat and a cold nose. Nope, nose was quite warm at the minute. Tony says, an all red 706 is very smart. Yeah, you know something, I'm not overly keen on the all red. I like the red ones generally, but I think the red finger wheel and that, it's a bit overkill. I think it's a bit too much red. Christopher Charles says red and white are wrong way around on the line cord. Yes, I think they were, Christopher, but have I now done right by swapping them, and does it matter? Miguel said he was on BT copper, but it was very slow. He's now changed to Virgin Fibre and still can use his dial phones, and it's much faster Wi-Fi. How is this possible? Not sure, because I'm not sure what hardware Virgin uses, but it's all to do with what you are plugging your phones into, I think. I'm guessing you're now not plugging into a normal master socket on the wall. I'm guessing you're plugging your phones or something into a Virgin Fibre box of some kind that sits on the windowsill, are you? I don't know, because like I said, I've never had Virgin Fibre, so I don't know quite how it works. Penfold says you could be on fibre to the cabinet. Now instead of the old ADSL direct to exchange. Yeah, that's possible if they've not been in your house, Miguel. If you've just changed over to Virgin but nobody's actually been in your house to do anything physical with hardware, then you're probably on fibre to the cabinet. which might make things a bit faster. But if you add fibre to the premises, that would make things a lot faster. And that is when some people say that they can't use their old pulsed dialing phones anymore, because the fibre optic cable comes into your house, and then there's a fancy box that sits on your windowsill, that theoretically you plug your internet into, you know, your computer or whatever, and you plug your telephone into. But when people plug their pulse dialing phones into it, some say it doesn't work. But if you're on fibre to the cabinet, so the last bit to your house is still copper, that should be backwards compatible, so it should still work. Christopher Charles says you should need a solid plastic dial label protector, different than the clear dial label protectors. I'm one step ahead of you, Christopher. I'm one step ahead of you, mate. I've got one there, and you are quite right, it is solid. Can you see that is a solid one? I was lucky in that I got about half a dozen of these a few years ago as spares. I think they were recovered off of old phones, but I managed to get about half a dozen as a job lot. So I'm about to use one up, I should say, and stick it in the centre of there. I've not got a dial label for it yet, but hello. As I said, there'll be days like this. You know something? It doesn't fit. Oh, it does. That's it. My God, that was tight. That was, and it's a genuine finger wheel, but that was a very tight fit to get that in there. There'd be no pulling that out with a sucker. You definitely need to get a screwdriver under that now to get that off. But yeah, so we've done it. Dominic says, any plans to fit a bell on-off switch? I suppose I could, if I've got one. I don't know if I've got one, actually, Dominic. A spare one. I'll have to have a rummage. Oh, Gambo's here. He says, hey peeps, how's it going? Says he's heard a rumour there's deep fried pizza on the go. Yeah, apparently, Gambo, and from what I can gather, you're welcome to it, because it's not very nice. Wesley says, I think Virgin Media is DOCSIS over coax, so it's probably a better proposition than TP copper. Right, I say I've got no idea how Virgin works, but I have heard people in the past say, who are on Virgin Fibre, that they can't use their pulse phones. But it's a long time ago, so maybe they've done some kind of upgrade or something to make pulse phones work. I mean, it should be a relatively easy thing to make a pulse dialing phone work on a modern system. And things should always be backwards compatible. Miguel says, yes, it's a new modem and coax to the box on the outside, then fibre to the cabinet. So it's coax to a box on the outside wall, and then fibre to the cabinet. So the modem must be able to read pulse dial, which is good. Because I don't think Virgin's modems did used to be able to read pulse dial signals. So if they now can, that's a good thing. Well done, Mr. Branson. Wesley says, technically possible, yes, but not supported by BT FTTP. Fibre to the premises. So BT fibre to the premises doesn't support pulse dialing, is that what we're saying? They definitely don't support it, even though it should be a fairly easy, I would have thought, firmware upgrade to the box. Yeah, well, if they don't support it, it's just poor on the part of the manufacturers of the box that sits on the windowsill, whoever makes those boxes for BT, because it should be a very easy thing to do to support pulse dialing, because it's a box that's sending a digital signal out. All it's got to do is capture an analog signal in and convert it. And if these little ATAs can do it, like this one that I've got here, if they can support pulse dialing, then why on earth can BT not get their head around it? But you see, there used to be a time when BT used to have engineers and proper boffins that knew something about telephones and that, not sort of work experience people that go around in an OpenReach van. But yeah, you should see it when they come here. An OpenReach and that come here, they sort of throw their arms up in horror, because they come here, they walk through the door, and I basically just tell them what they're doing and say, right, you need to connect that to that, that to that, don't touch that because that goes there, and they see all the telephones about and they think, oh my god, where have I come? Who is this guy? You might know more than I learnt on my 3-day training course. So it puts the fear of God into the OpenReach people when they come. Yeah, yes, I'm not OpenReach's biggest fan. Had loads and loads of problems with them, and the one that I remember best was somebody who'd gone and bought a new build house, and the phone sockets, there were a number of phone sockets built into this new build house, and basically they weren't connected to each other. The phone sockets are in the wall with a bit of cable out the back of them. There was a cable going somewhere, but it didn't connect to the next socket and then to the outside. It just must have stopped somewhere randomly inside the wall, and that was a new build house with phone sockets with a cable going out the back that were not connected to anything else. So it looked like they were connected up when you took the box apart on the wall, because you saw a little wire going out the back of the box, but it didn't actually go anywhere, and that was a brand new build house. Wordsy says, I won't be offended with that. Hopefully Penfold won't either. No, I'm sure you won't. I'm sure you're not OpenReach YTS people. There are still some proper engineers about on OpenReach, but they are getting very few and far between now. And the people that they are sending out these days, if there's anything out of the ordinary, shall we say, they are completely stumped, because while they know what to do to connect a phone up or to connect your internet up or whatever, when there's a problem, they don't understand how it works. They know how to connect it up, but they don't understand how it works, and that is, I think, the key difference between the old school engineers and the modern day people. I mean, some of the modern day people probably understand how it works, because some of them are probably interested in the job that they do. You know, so will show an interest and enjoy the job. But others will just be doing the job for the money, not show an interest, and just go through the motions. And unfortunately, they're the ones that I seem to get most of the time. So, but yeah, it ain't what it used to be. Right, so yeah. Penfold says, I'm not at Openreach now anyway. Oh, he's seen sense. Where are you now then, Penfold? Christopher says, when the 706 went... Alright, I'll start that bit again, shall I? I'm trying to actually read and speak at the same time this time. Christopher says, when the 706 came out, they had an instruction sheet under the dial label protector showing how to remove with screwdriver instrument number 1 under the side of the dial finger plate. They did indeed. I have got a dial with one of those in somewhere, that instruction sheet. Yeah, that you're dead right. Yeah, what you do is you shove a screwdriver number 1, as you say, and strangely, it more or less does have to be a screwdriver number 1. An ordinary screwdriver won't do, and particularly a screwdriver like this won't do, because apart from the fact you can't get it in there because it's too fat, you need a screwdriver that's not screwdriver bits. You need a proper screwdriver with a thin shank on it. But old-fashioned screwdrivers were kind of stamped at the end, and it made the end fatter. And that's what you need to shove under there and twist to pop the dial, pop the opal out of the dial label. If your screwdriver's got an end like this that doesn't get any fatter as it goes down, because it's ground down rather than stamped on the end, these don't work so well, because you've not got that lever in action as you twist it. So you need one of those old-fashioned screwdrivers that is a bit fatter at the end, if you know what I mean, to get them out. But the screwdriver number 1s and that, they pop up on eBay and that. The tools generally for the GPO and for telecom and that were generally made by Footprint in Sheffield, and you could also go and buy Footprint tools in shops and stuff. And I don't know if you still can. I don't know if Footprint is still going or not. But you can still find Footprint tools. But generally all the screwdrivers and stuff were made by Footprint, and were quite nice things. I have restored quite a lot of old screwdrivers. The ones with the sort of yellow plastic, kind of looks like amber because you can see through it, the yellow plastic ends, or sometimes blue or sometimes red or sometimes green. Those plastic ends you can see through. I've restored quite a few of those screwdrivers. I did them in the first lockdown, and I've got them all in an old GPO toolbox. Not particularly GPO screwdrivers. I just went through when I got nothing to do one day. Remember the good old days when you had nothing to do? Yeah, I went through when I had nothing to do one day, found out all these old screwdrivers with the translucent handles, and had a go at restoring them, and it was quite successful what I did. I got some really old paint covered screwdrivers and that, and managed to restore some quite nicely. And then I got a little bench grinder and reground the ends on them, because they've been used for levering open paint cans and things, and all the things you're not supposed to do with a screwdriver. But I managed to grind all the ends down and that, and yeah, did quite a good restoration on a few old screwdrivers. So I look for them now. If I go to a car boot sale or anything like that, I look for old screwdrivers, particularly either wooden handled ones or ones with these translucent plastic ends on. Now I know how to clean them up and get them all nice and shiny again, because they look quite nice. Right, I shall go back to the chat. Dominic says his 706L has the original instruction sheet and the dial still. Yeah, quite a few do seem to have them in. I wonder if people just used to put the normal dial labels on the top of the instruction sheet and leave it in there. And Dominic also says in the 300 series style dial label on top is what the early 706s had. Is that the one with the red writing on, Dominic? Did early ones have the ones with the red writing on? Or did they have the later style ones but just not with the 100 for operator across the middle? I don't know when that changed from being the ones with the black and red writing on to being the ones that were basically grey and white. I don't know when that changed over exactly. Sometime in the 60s, but I'm not sure when. Penfold says, I only became interested in rotary phones due to older customers with partners and parents with Alzheimer's. They got comfort with the older rotary phones, so I trained myself to fix them via Andy's site. Cool. That's the way to do it. Yeah, there's quite a lot of people with Alzheimer's and that want rotary phones. I used to sell them through the antique centre here at Bolsover, and we did sell quite a few to people who got elderly relatives who, you know, they bought them as like a Christmas present for elderly relatives and that, because it's that familiarity of being able to something that they can remember and still be able to use. They can remember how to use a rotary dial phone because they've maybe done it for the last 50 or 60 years, whereby they can't remember how to use a push button phone because push button phones are relatively recent, aren't they? At least they are in this country. It's amazing how far behind the UK was with push button phones compared to the US. The US in places had DTMF dialing in the 1960s, and it basically really took until the 1980s before we really got it here in the UK. So although there were push button phones before that, but some of the early push button phones in the UK were still pulse dialing, not tone dialing. So yeah, we were kind of between 10 and 20 years behind the US, and it's amazing that we were that far behind. I guess it was a case of if it ain't broke, don't mend it, and it certainly wasn't broke. But yeah, it's interesting how it moves on. But finding a 700 style phone that is DTMF is quite tricky. They do exist. There's a couple on the windowsill here, but you don't see them very often. Dominic says he thinks the red dial labels were changed for grey in the mid-60s. There's an interim style one without the line below the grey top and 100 operator. Yeah, there is. Yeah, I've seen those, and I wondered if those interim style ones were the ones that were originally put in 706s. But you think the black and red ones were in 706s originally, do you? I don't know. I've got no idea. It's something I'm pondering on, and I don't know when it changed. I'd like to know when it changed. Wesley says there used to be equipment in old Strowger exchangers that generated pulses from incoming DTMF tones. How times have changed. Yeah, so that would be a tone to pulse converter, not a pulse to tone converter. Now that is interesting, because I know for a fact there's somebody out there who's been trying to make one of those recently, because the people who have preserved old Strowger exchangers want something that will take incoming DTMF into their Strowger systems. So people are trying to make those now, tone to pulse converters. Christopher says dial labels change when the operator changed from dial 0 to dial 100 for operator, plus 999 for emergency. Yeah, but originally the grey dial label originally didn't have the 100 for operator on it. It originally didn't have that line. It originally just had the fire, police, ambulance 999 at the top, and then the number of the telephone. It didn't have that operator bit across the middle. So I don't know. I'll have to do a bit of research on dial labels, and I'll get back to you with what I find on that one, because it's an interesting one. That I don't know the answers to it. That's about the dial labels, but we'll have to find something. Of course, you can create your own dial labels now very easily on an inkjet printer, and when I get around to it, I will put some dial label templates up on the website, so you can download them and print them out and stick them in your phones, so you don't have to pay the incredibly extortionate prices on eBay for them, for somebody else to have printed them out and cut them out. Wesley says the likes of your CNET mate in Wales would be aware of the original equipment used. I suppose any UAX that survived into the 90s would have had such a piece of equipment. Yeah, it's the guy in Wales, it's Ian in Wales, who is trying to make these tone to pulse converters now. I think he's probably aware that such a thing existed, but he's wanting to make new ones, because there's quite a lot of people with old Strowger exchangers in the garages and stuff, wanting to get them going and wanting to be able to accept incoming tone signals to them. So he's trying to make an inexpensive little box that will do the conversion. Dominic says, I know the red dial labels themselves were introduced around the time dial 12s came about in the early 50s. Really? What did they have before that then, Dominic? What did they have before the dial 12s? Was it just a black label? I've only got one dial 10, and it's in a candlestick that needs restoring. I might have got another half of a dial 10 somewhere. I think I've got 1.5 dial 10s. Because I've got bits of one somewhere, I think. But some of the dial 10s were strange because they had little dial labels in, not full size ones. Yeah. Right. Anyway, that is that. If you can add to any of this and have got any more information for us, do feel free to get in touch. Drop us a message. If you don't know the email address to drop a message to, then initially contact us through the contact us form on the website, which is here, andyshed.corepress.net, and you'll find a contact us form on there. saves me giving the email out on here and getting bombarded with spam, which I do if I give the email out. Or of course you can also join the chat in our forum, gpotelephones.proboards.com. That's gpotelephones.proboards.com. Right, marvellous. So we've got the red phone. Now the thing about the red phone now is next bit of it is this end, because we've done the other end now, we've sorted the other end out. Next thing we've got to do is sort this end out, which is still a bit stuck together. So here you see the problem. We've got a cord here going to the phone that has only got 3 cords, a red, a white and a green. So when we connect a modern line cord to the other end of this, we'll basically want to be connecting blue to that green there and not connecting up the green. So what I'm going to do, because we're a screw missing out of that, I'm going to take that screw completely out of there and put it in the other end, so that we've got something to connect the green to when we actually put a cord on it. So we will be awaiting a cord for that. Cool. I'll just slip that back over for now. Like I say, we're missing the screw. Oh, is that one? Don't think it is, but that's not one of those screws, is it? No, it's not. I thought that would be lucky if I just found one on the desk. But there's a thing with GPO on it, so a nice early one. Going back to the thing about the centres here, and about the original instructions that said about putting the screwdriver in there, I might do some reproduction ones of those for people to put in to make their phone look new. I might do some repros of them, because I've not done any so far, so I might have a go at that over Christmas or something. You've inspired me to do something there. On it says the original dial labels had black text on a white label with dial 0. I fitted a replica one for my 1945 232. Cool. I'll have to have a look and see if we can do that, because I do have a 200 series under the desk here. That's requiring some attention, shall we say. Well, yeah. So that's what we've been up to anyway this week. We've been getting red telephones again. Red is by far the most desirable colour, but I just think the red with the red finger wheel and that it just looks a bit much to me. You know, I quite like the red with the clear finger wheel, I've decided. But, yeah, but it is what it is. It's original, And originality is everything here, so it is what it is. So that's another one that we've got sorted. Where can I put it now? I'm running out of space to put things, because every week I put another phone somewhere, and they never get taken out of this room, so I end up stuck with them all in here. I'll stick it under there for now. Right, that's given me a little bit of space on the desk. Not much, but a little bit. Alright. So yes, on to the next thing now, and of course you end up with a lot of these jumpers, and different phones have slightly different design ones in. That's one of those ones. 3 different designs there, and trim phone ones are different again. Trim phone ones are smaller. That one, now that one, I think, no, that's what I've just taken out, isn't it? Well, that looks like a trim phone one because it's small. No, that must be a trim phone one because it's smaller. The connections on it are slightly closer together. Can you see? So that one's out of a trim phone. But you get these, but never throw them away because they're an interesting original bit. But of course you can just put a bit of wire between the terminals. But it's always handy if you've got these, and every time you convert a phone, because of how you do the conversion to the modern plug and socket system, you do generally end up with one of these spare. So you do sort of get a nice collection of them over time. Right. Dominic says, talking about dial labels, as I think there's a pre-war GPO film about the introduction of the dials showing some of the old labels. Wesley says, the other one looks like one out of a BT52A. What are we on about here, Wesley? We're on about these things. One of those looks like it's out of a 52A. Yeah. It may be. There's a very similar thing in trim phones. Trim phones seem to have smaller ones as well, I do believe. But yeah, it could be out of a 52A, that one, that little one. It could be. They're just sort of a collection I've developed on the desk. Every so often I scoop them all into a little plastic box with all the others in. But it's amazing what sort of finds its way onto this desk. It's absolutely amazing. There's so much stuff that has come in just recently. One thing that's come in just recently, fountain pens. Do you remember the fountain pens that we had on the other week? Like this one, for instance. Absolutely brilliant. I've been trying to get some more, but they are ridiculously expensive. I've been trying to get some more to a store, but they're really, really expensive to get a hold of. But I'm really, really liking them. They are fantastic things. So yeah, we've got those on the desk. What else have we got on the desk that's interesting? Old coins. Who remembers when pound coins were like that? So I've got a few of those here. Got a bell coil, or two bell coils joined together, and I see 500 ohm coils with their connections on, showing beautifully here the fact that they used whatever colour wire they could. Look, it's a strange thing because all old telephones have colour coded wires inside them. The only wire that is not colour coded in an old sort of 700 series phone are these ones that go to the bell coils, and they can be any colour of wire they happen to have to hand. The phone that we've just done today had got blue ones, the one that we've just rewired inside, that had got blue, and this one's got orange ones. They can be absolutely any colour, it's just whatever colour they happen to have at the time. So there's a set of those. So yeah, all sorts kicking about, and bits of clock here as well. I'm restoring a clock at the minute that will not go, and I don't know why it won't go, because everything is perfect with it, and it should go, but it doesn't, and I've got no idea why it doesn't. I've cleaned it, I've oiled it, I've put it back together about 4 or 5 times now, and it still will not go. Answers on the proverbial postcard, please. Wesley says, I've got a few old coins sat next to me here. Can you exchange them anywhere? You can sell them on eBay for about £2 or £3 each. Penfold says, is that a George VI pound coin? No, I don't think they are pound coins. Actually, what is it? It appears to have a picture of a bridge on it. Hang on. Where are we? There we are. Now, what bridge is that? Is it the... Is it the 4th rail bridge or something? Right. Let's have a look. Get you in focus. There you go. That's what it's got on it. What bridge is that? Answers on the proverbial postcard, please. And on the back, it's got the Queen, of course. What are they doing with coins now? Have we got coins with Charles's head on yet? There you go. This is where people get in the comments about my dirty fingernails. But you get dirty fingernails when you work for a living. Yeah, what bridge is that on that coin? I've got some more here as well. Hang on. Let's have a little look. What's that? Oh, that's not a British coin. That is... It's a bit difficult because of the light on the camera. But 1994... One. Zati or something. What is it? That? No idea where that's come from. No idea at all where that's come from. Right. So we'll look back to pound coins. What we got on this one? Oh, this one appears to have got the Wembley arch on it. Hang on, wrong way up. I think it's the Is it the Wembley arch? No, it's a bridge, isn't it? That. I believe that is another bridge. I don't think that's the Wembley Arch. I think it's another bridge. It's that bridge that lifts up. Is it on the Tyne, this? But it's that bridge that sort of rolls over. So that's another one. What else have we got here? Hang on. Knocking the happy home to pieces now. Hang on. What's on this one? Oh, I've got another one of those. Same one. That. And what we've got here? Another bridge. Right, what's that? That looks a bit like the Brooklyn Bridge, that. But why would that be on a British coin? Bridges of the world. Somebody's shouting at me now, going, "That's not the Brooklyn Bridge." Oh, and this one, this is the Welsh one. This is the Welsh pound coin with the daffodil and the leek. I'm good at getting these the wrong way up, aren't I? There you go. And of course, these are all a thing of the past now. These commemorative pound coins. Which way up is that supposed to be? Is it supposed to be like that? With the daffodil pointing upwards and the leek pointing downwards. Something's upside down all the time, isn't it? Put the daffodil the right way up and the leek is upside down. Yeah, not sure. But anyway, hey ho, there you go. So, yeah, so they're the pound coins that have been sat on the desk here for quite a while, and that other oddball coin that we don't know what it is. So yeah, if anybody could tell me what the bridges are, that'd be marvellous. I've got another little coin. What's that? I have no idea. It's got the Queen's head on one side, but doesn't seem to be British on the other side. Is it an American cent or something? Is it? It's got a windsurfer on it. Is it a windsurfer? And then it's got the Queen on the other side. It's a bit like a 5p, but I'm sure it's not. Loads and loads of different coins. We have all sorts here, you see. It's not just telephones, we do have all sorts. That's why we call it Andy's Shed, because it's not just phones. It's like, we're on camera. All kinds of weird bits and pieces and things. Right, I think that is probably almost as far as we go today. I'll just have a look what's been going on in the chat. Mia says it was the fourth rail bridge. Wesley says, I thought fourth rail bridge. Yeah, I think it was the fourth rail bridge, that one. Christopher says, them terminal straps could be stored in that plastic plug thing you made. That's a very good idea there, Christopher. Well, yeah. There we go. Just full of good ideas, you lot, aren't you? Yeah. Yeah, everybody's saying fourth Royal Bridge. Wesley, except Wesley, who says Zloty. Oh, that other coin was a zloty, was it? A Polish zloty. Yeah, they're all. Yeah, Spig agrees, and yeah. Um, um, Dominic says we thought one of those bridges was a Clifton suspension bridge, maybe. Penfold says is that a Prince Albert coin? No, Penfold, I don't think it is. Bridge on the River Kwai. No, because that'd be blown up, wouldn't it? That'd just be like stumps of a bridge or something. Oh no, Christmas is coming. That's going to be on, isn't it? I'm sure Bridge on the River Kwai will be on this Christmas. Because it's on every Christmas. Come on. Bridge on the River Kwai, Wizard of Oz, Sound of Music, every Christmas. I was watching a thing on the television last night about greatest Christmas TV programmes and that, and it said something like there was a bidding war in, I think it said 1978, between BBC and ITV to premiere The Sound of Music on TV. And I thought, does that mean The Sound of Music wasn't on television before 1978? I'm sure I saw it before 1978. I'm sure I did. I can't possibly be right. But that's what they were saying on the TV last night. The Great Escape is the film, says Penfold. No, isn't there another one called Isn't there a film called The Bridge on the River Kwai? Or is The Great Escape based on the book called The Bridge on the River Kwai? Christian says the last bridge on the coins was the Menai Suspension Bridge in North Wales. Ah, cool. So we've got the bridge over the Menai Straits. Yeah, that makes sense because it's a famous one, isn't it? So it's not the Brooklyn Bridge as I thought it was. Spig says, wasn't it the Wembley Arch? No, I think it's that Winking Bridge thing, the thing that lifts up. I think it's on the River Tyne, but don't hold me to that, I'm not certain. But it's that kind of bridge that is not a straight bridge, it kind of goes around in an arch. You sort of walk out onto the bridge, and instead of walking straight across, you walk round in an arch, and then there's an arch up above it, and when a boat wants to come underneath it, the arch up above goes down a bit and pulls the deck of the bridge up a bit, so it's higher, so both bits are high up then, so the boat can get underneath. And they call it the Winking Bridge or something like that, I think. I've not imagined that, have I? Wesley says, no, there is a film called The Bridge on the River Kwai. I thought there was. The Great Escape is the thing where they're tunnelling out, isn't it? Out of the prison camp. The Bridge on the River Kwai is the thing where they're building the bridge and then they blow the bridge up. Is the Bridge on the River, which I think they did for real. I believe they did it for real, that. You know, that train goes off the bridge on the river, on the Bridge on the River Kwai. I think it's a real train. They crashed off the bridge. I think. I'm not sure, but I think it is. Millennium Bridge, says Spig. Just googled it. Yeah, it would have been about the time of the millennium. But it's not the Millennium Bridge in London, though. The Wobbly Bridge. That's something else. Dominic says there are lots of bonkers things built for the millennium, all painted white for some reason too. Yeah. No, the Millennium Bridge in London is sort of a silvery grey colour. The Wobbly Bridge, that's not white. It's definitely not white, that one. It's in Gateshead, says Spig. that weird bridge. Yeah, right. So it's on the Tyne then. It's between Gateshead and Newcastle. Because Gateshead's on one bank and Newcastle's on the other bank, isn't it? I went there a few years ago to see Belinda Carlisle in the concert at the Sage in Gateshead, which is a building in itself that has to be seen to be believed. Right, so now we've sorted out where all those bridges are and things, and yeah, crikey, you're mine of information, you lot, tonight. I think that is probably about as far as we go for today. Thanks to everybody for taking part again and watching, and yeah, this is the last one before Christmas. No show next Sunday because it's Christmas Day next Sunday. Whoa. But remember, there is a very special live stream, hopefully on Saturday, on Christmas Eve, provided we can get the stream to actually work, which with these Christmas live streams, if you know from previous years, they don't always, but hopefully we will have a live stream for you on Christmas Eve, i.e. next Saturday, sometime in the afternoon. So make sure you've clicked the subscribe and the little bell icon thing somewhere on the YouTube page, so you get notified when we are actually on air. Right, that is about as far as we go for today. It only remains for me to thank our channel patrons once again. If you want to join them, you can do so for £1 a month by going here, patreon.com/AndyShed. And as I said earlier, remember that you can also join in the chat on the forum when we're not on air, which is here, gpotelephones.proboards.com. Right, that is more or less it for today. Merry Christmas to everyone, says Miguel. It says hopes it gets warmer. I've heard it's going to, Miguel. I've heard it's going to get to about 13 degrees this coming week, so positively balmy. Dominic says, will there be a special radio test broadcast perhaps? You never know, Dominic. And Wesley says, oh, Belinda. Yes, Belinda, yes, heaven really is a place on earth. Thing is, it's in Gateshead. Sorry, Gateshead. Right, have a fantastic Christmas if we don't see you next Saturday, but hopefully we will. We will be back here for the next sort of semi-normal Andy Shed Live on New Year's Day, I believe, because that's a Sunday, isn't it? New Year's Day. Yeah, that's Sunday. Yeah. But remember, like I say, next Saturday for a very special event. Also, watch out for more How to Start a Radio Station coming up. I know there wasn't a new one this week. Editing has slowed down a bit, but hopefully we'll get one out this coming week. And remember, if you want to know more about that, make sure you tune in Christmas Eve afternoon for the live stream. I will be telling you more about the radio station. But that really is about it from me for now. Thanks to everybody for taking part once again, and we will see you next time. I hope Santa brings you everything that you've asked for, and possibly more besides. But yeah, from us for now, have a great Christmas, and we'll see you soon. On Christmas Eve, in fact. Yeah. Bye for now.